You're live. Welcome to Thriving with Chiropractic, where Dr. Moshe from Mosier Family Chiropractic shares a variety of topics designed to empower, inspire, and give hope. Take a few notes and enjoy the lesson. Well, hey, folks, this is Dr. Moshe here, and I have Joe Baker. So he is actually my personal trainer. We have been working together, 4, 5, 6 weeks now?
Yeah, roughly.
And so he has helped me so much. So, for instance, I want to tell a little story because I'm a big guy, and push-ups are by far one of the hardest things for me to do. And you've seen me do push-ups, right?
That's correct.
So one morning, he's like, we're going to do chest. We're going to do push-ups. That's how he's developed a massive chest. And so I was like, okay, let's try. And he said, we're going to do weighted push-ups. And mind you, I've never in my life, in all my competing, all my athletics, so strongman, you name it, I've never done weighted push-ups. So he's like, okay, let's do it. He ends up putting a 45-pound plate on my back, and I'm able to do 5 reps. Now, mind you, when we first started, I could only do 2 push-ups.
That's correct.
Before I'd have to drop to my knees and do the girl push-ups, right?
Yep.
So that was a major accomplishment for me. And I'll be honest with you. So I'm a chiropractor. I have my doctorate. I have my exercise science degrees. And for the longest time, I never thought, I don't need a personal trainer. I'll just do it on my own. I have all the certifications, right? And I've even competed. But over the years, I've gotten quite out of shape. I've lost track. I've gotten, you're on your track and then you get off the track and you just never seem to get back on it. So I contacted Joe, and he's actually, it takes a lot to impress me. And I've been pretty impressed with Joe. And I told him I was going to sweet talk him today on this, make him feel good. But this has been an awesome experience. So awesome that we've actually hired him to train clients and patients downstairs in the home, my personal gym. And so, but I want to get started before I start asking you a bunch of questions. I really want to tell folks that we have the Brick Street Festival. It's from 5 to 8 on Saturday. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning this on this interview is Joe's going to be there. He's going to be there for a little bit. So if you want to come out, ask him some questions. Hey, I got this going on. I really want to lose this much weight for going on a vacation, or got a wedding, or what have you. You just want to get in shape. So Joe's going to be available. He's going to be available to answer any questions. But let's get started. So
Yes.
Joe, what got you started in fitness?
Well, thank you so much for having me on. First live interview with you. Like I said, I get very nervous during an interview, and I'm not good on camera, but we'll wing to see how it goes.
That sounds great.
What got started me in fitness? I've always been motivated, involved in sports growing up, little league, baseball, basketball. Got involved in cross country and track in middle school. I had a coach begged me to want to start running. He seen my potential running up and down a basketball court. And it went from there. Started running cross country and track under his leadership. And then it carried over to high school to where my high school coach at Austin High School, Andy Watts, I have to say he's probably the most influential person I've ever had around me in my life. Our coach, he was like a dad, worked us to death, cross country, track, every off season, went to church on Sundays. If you missed, he's right there at your door picking you up. He instilled a lot of good traits in me. It developed a work ethic. At the time when you're grinding and you're running 8 to 10 miles a day, and it's never good enough in his eyes, you wonder, you letting him down. But in reality, he sees more potential in you. So during that time frame, you don't see the full picture. All I know that he developed and embedded such a work ethic about me that carried over to my life after high school and into college. And then, of course, going off to college and running cross country and track, it carried over. And then from there, I got involved with powerlifting, and then I got involved with Golden Gloves boxing at the time. So I've done a variety of a whole lot of different sports, but I think the two that I enjoyed the most was the powerlifting portion of it and the boxing. Those years I was involved in boxing. So
awesome. Now, folks, I don't know if you caught this, but Joe is extremely humble. So he just casually said, yeah, I got into powerlifting, and yeah, I did Golden Glove boxing. And some of you may know a little bit more about this, but Golden Glove boxing, he was at a very elite high level of boxing, and you were competitive for years.
Yes.
I think you said 17 years.
Yeah, off and on. Yeah.
And then with the powerlifting, so he would actually travel with West Side Barbell. And many of you may not know this, but they are also the elite. So me and you have been, boxing. You've been holding up the mitts and having me train. And I will tell you, it is an awesome workout. You're drenched in sweat and you don't even know you're working because you're punching mitts. Yeah. And it's kind of fun.
Yeah. That was probably what I developed the most knowledge and wisdom from Louis Simmons at Westside Barbell. I would travel over there to Columbus, Ohio often and train with them guys. And it was there, the environment, the gym setting, the knowledge that individual had, that man. And it just blew my mind. So you absorb everything he tells you and you study from him. I learned a lot about the lower extremities, part of the body, correct form, and hip mobility. I think that's the big thing. And that's why he was telling me that there's so many elderly folk that become victim to having hip injuries. And I said, well, why is that? He says, well, it's underdeveloped muscle in the lower extremities. And he says it needs to be worked. And it was just little things like that you learn from him. But those are things you never forget. And they really, really transformed me and made me a better power lifter, made me a better, personal trainer thereof. So
absolutely. And as a chiropractor, we totally believe that hip mobility can keep you moving, keep you mobilized, but it also in powerlifting, it can make you real strong.
Makes you real strong. Yeah, makes your squat, made my squat go up quite a bit during that time when I started working on my hip mobility and strengthening my hips, hip flexors and glutes and hamstrings.
Absolutely. So we're on the same page there. My next question, and this is a big question, and I want to really hear what you have to say on this. And the reason why, and I'm just going to go back to my story. So I used to be competitive. I used to be competitive in strongman and lifting the back end of cars and Atlas stones. And it was fun. It was really enjoyable. Probably not the best for your spine, but I enjoyed it. But I got out of shape. And honestly, and I've told people this, but in my mind, I was going down the trail of, I'm never going to get back in shape. I can't do this. I ain't good enough. It kind of beats you up a little bit, right? And so I'm meeting Joe. I'm thinking about competing again. I think there's a powerlifting meet in September.
I think so, yeah.
So we're going to try to do that. But what would you say to someone that's saying, I'm too old, I'm too out of shape, why even bother?
I believe a lot of people that say that life's really busy. And for us living in a fast-paced world, I think we get so caught up into the fast chain, the fast food, the fast pace life. It's about priorities. But no, to answer that question, no, you're never too old, because I have taken an individual, many not elderly individuals, people up in their, I don't consider that elderly, but 50 and 60-year-old people. And it's rehabilitation. You take what is weak, what they have broken, what is damaged in that person, and you work around it and you build muscles. If something breaks, something is undercompensated. That means that something needs to be fixed in the body, muscular wise. So, as you know, it all ties in together. So you have to balance out your body when it comes to fitness, but you also have to take each individual and work them differently. Everybody, I believe, to some degree, has to be trained a little bit differently than the other. Females, my experience by training all these years, by example, females need to be trained differently than a male figure in a gym. I know that statistically because by trial and error of noting and documenting a female's progress in the gym and the way that I train a female compared to the way a male would train in a gym. So, no, I just think that that's why we have personal trainers. I think that's why you take an individual who has the character to motivate that individual and inspire that individual. And, it could be an individual in life that's always been mentally beaten down, not told they're good enough, told them they're not worthy. They'll never change. They'll never look no better. They'll always be as they are. And that's not true. You have to drown out negative people and surround yourself around positive people. And if I can take that one individual that's broken mentally or physically and say, look, no, you can do this. This is going to happen. You just need to be motivated. You need somebody to inspire you like I would you. I think everybody has a little bit something to offer to the table because when I've told you this before, there's a lot of days where I feel like my cup is empty because I'm always pouring out to helping people. But, do you get your cup filled back up to be self-motivated yourself? I'm an individual and go to the gym by myself and put headphones in and motivate myself just fine. But as my character, and that's my way of life, and it comes natural for me. Most it does not. So with my program, you basically walk in. I got the workout set up for you. Just do the work. A lot of females that come to me and reach out to me, they have exhausted themselves with everything but just working out. And there's nothing wrong with that. I understand that everybody's got priorities and the way they see or depict something, but it's a protein shake or it's some type of new fad diet out there, and they fail. Yeah. And I'm like, why do you want to starve yourself, and why do you want to do these particular things, these diet, these supplements, protein drinks, and like that? When just put the work in. Just simply come to me or whoever, and just put the work in. Spend about an hour a day. It'll change your life if you just devote maybe 2 or 3 hours a week. It changes everybody else. So that's my opinion on that.
Absolutely. Well, you made me think of two things. One, so me and you, we train at 5:30 a.m.,
which is rough.
But
I'm not used to that.
No, but that's, for me, that's the time that I'm able running a busy office. And so you're willing to come down and, well, there's a lot of times my alarm clock goes off at 4:30 and I'm like, I just want to hit that snooze button. But I know Joe's going to be there. So I got to be ready. It keeps me accountable. And I think that's one of the biggest things I was missing in this piece, because I am feeling way better.
That's good.
I move better. Yesterday I went for a run on the Salem track because I felt so good. But the other thing I wanted to ask you, because you used to be a deputy, right?
That's correct.
And you have seen more than we could discuss on this short program. But something that you are absolutely passionate about, and I want to know more, is domestic violence and training these ladies to stand up for themselves. And I'm just going to let you take over, because this is a huge, huge passion of yours, and I want to know.
I didn't see it coming. Excuse me. To be honest with you, approximately 2 years ago, after I settled into opening up Alpha Combat and Tactics in Scottsburg, Indiana, it's then where I was personal training maybe a handful of females at the time. A lot of females were reaching out to me about self-defense. Of course, I have all these certifications on self-defense, off-site training, been to seminars, whatnot. But when you were in law enforcement, I was in law enforcement for 17 years, roughly, somewhere around there. And during that time, you see a lot of heartache, a lot of agony, a lot of tragedy. During that time during the course of that time, is when you domestic violence, for example, when you see and you have to go investigate a domestic violence call, and, every male's wired differently. I mean, it's a generational thing, I believe, because if a kid sees his father beating his mother or treat her disrespectfully, it carries over to that young boy or that female. So it's a domino effect, and it becomes a domestic cycle pattern. But when you investigate so many domestics and you sit with that lady, a female, or that young female who's been sexually assaulted, that wears on you. And it did me. And, you sit with that lady who is battered and bruised and bleeding from her nose and her lips busted. And you're trying to console her and she's crying and her kids are upset and the dad's left the scene. And, and he's just a coward. Like he run from the problem because he knows he's going to go to jail. And then it becomes a domestic cycle because that female, typically, my opinion, she loves that male. And so she wishes for better days. And she gets up and she wants to try again. So it becomes a domestic pattern and a cycle. And then that male becomes apologetic. And then it's a revolving door that never stops. But when you see that so much, and then you watch the news during that time with all the rioting going on, all the craziness, and then COVID hit, and then the domestic violence rate went through the roof because everybody's isolated, and my phone started blowing up. So I went from like a handful of females and doing videos on self-defense and cardio boxing and striking and punching and kicking and kneeing techniques to where I started just writing it down on paper. I started reminiscing and reflecting back on my years of law enforcement and remembering all these statements that were obtained from a female on the way she was choked on the ground or in a bed or on the couch or standing up against the wall, how she was pinned and how the male held her down. I mean, when you start, obtaining so many statements that's similar in nature, to me, I had all these self-defense techniques I believed would work. But I am a firm believer, based on my training method, you cannot teach a seminar or some kind of short-term classes to a female or any kind of self-defense program. That's my opinion, because I've been to several of them, these seminars, and I'm not taking nothing away from nobody, but they're really cheesy and they're not realistic. So I'm thinking, if I'm going to develop the program, I want to make it almost realistic enough to where you come into my program, I know these scenarios by experience. I'm going to take these experiences that I have witnessed and investigated in the past, and I'm going to try my best to develop a program and implement it in with cardio, boxing, kickboxing, strength training, and core training. Because if you teach those self-defense techniques, which I have, and you try to apply them, or role play those self-defense moves, I'm not taking nothing away, but males are more dominant physically. Females don't have the strength and the core they need to overcome these techniques. So why not? Why are you going to just teach that seminar and then send them out the door? Because it's muscle memory. You have to practice this stuff all the time. So why not take a program and mix it all in together into one workout? So when you come into me, you're doing boxing for cardio, for fitness, which shreds a ton of weight. And then you're going to do some type of strength training, body, upper body, lower body, and then core. And then you're doing some kind of self-defense technique. So I'm keeping it all like relevant, so where you don't forget these movements. So it's second nature, that if, Lord forbid, you are caught in a scenario like that, you know what to do immediately. So that's where my heart lies, is with these women. If I can be their hands and their feet and their voice from a male perspective and talk to them and say, look, there are ways out of this. Let me see if I can help you, whether it be through law enforcement, the prosecutor's office, getting assistance with them or whatever. I want to do that, because if I can take one female and help them get out of that cycle, then it was worth it to me.
Absolutely. And then you'll think this is silly, but I moved here from Bloomington, Indiana, which is a bigger town in the state of Indiana. And I looked at Salem and Scottsburg and these surrounding small counties and thought, well, this is Mayberry. Nothing bad happens here. And obviously you've seen a different side of unfortunately, a very different side of things. So, and you made a good point. I mean, how is a female that weighs 110, 150 pounds going to fight against a 300-pound male?
It's not going to happen.
There's a huge size difference. So you really do need to know what you're doing, know the tactics, know how to get out of that scenario. And I think you're an awesome person to invest in these women to help them. My next question for you is, how is your training style different than so many others? And I could even speak to that because no other trainer has put me through the what you have put me through, and I feel even stronger. And we're not even squatting every day or benching every day, but I feel stronger. So I'm gonna let you tell it.
Uh, Years of experience, trial and error. I'm a firm believer that if you've not been there, done that, wrote the book on it, blood, sweat, and tears, don't come at me and talk to me about it. I have dedicated my life to law enforcement. I've dedicated my life to fitness. And again, fitness was very natural for me. I liked it. It was part of my lifestyle and then part of being in law enforcement. Um, I literally simply sat down one night about 3 a.m. and started writing down. I kind of hit on that on the last question. I just started writing down everything that would be beneficial to a woman in domestic violence, what would be beneficial to a person wanting to lose X amount of weight, tone up. Again, I know everybody's different. I know what works for me, and I know what works for my clients because they have results and they're getting results daily and weekly with my program. So I know what I do works, but my program might not be for you. It's everybody's got their own little jam on what they do. Some people like to just go do cycling classes. They like to hike. I mean, the program that I offer at Alpha Combat in Scottsburg, it is very demanding. It's very hard. But I said all of my workouts are designed on interval training. That means you will go at your own pace. If you can do 5 reps on something, that's fine. If you're boxing and if you can only throw so many strikes in a 1 minute time period, that's fine by me. You'll never get judged by me. I'm there to motivate you because you have to start with the day one. But I have taken a totality of a lot of training that I've learned and from a lot of people, and I've made my own thing out. It's not like I reinvented the wheel, but I just took what I believe worked based on a totality, again, of what everybody else has done, and I just tied it into one program. And again, the cardio boxing and kickboxing with the mitt work, that's very effective, where it shreds weight really quick and will rip you up and make you work muscles that you thought you never would before.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to jump over to the next question. We got 2 more questions with Joe. What are you passionate about?
Helping people, really. I believe that everybody has their own gifts. And through the years, I believe that was carried over to me from my mother. My mother has a very giving heart of helping people. She'll give you a shirt off your back. I'm one of those individuals that I'll give you a shirt off my back, but you make me mad. I want to, as I put on my Facebook, I want to put my hand to your face. I will love on you, but I will try to body slam you at the same time if you corner me or make me feel uncomfortable or put me in danger. So I think you have to find balance, and I think you have to find common ground with people. Absolutely. And you have to love on them, and you have to give them grace, and just do not judge them. Because you don't know what's going on in the attic space of that one individual's mind. It's that simple. So that's what I'm passionate about, is helping people. If I can do something, say something, help them achieve a goal in the area, in the field of what I'm doing, then that's well on my soul.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Last thing, and this is the biggest question, because I know you're a man of faith, as we are here, but how does your faith tie into your training and fitness and just your life?
Well, that was a hard question. It really was. I didn't know how to answer that other than I'm far from perfect. I'm so far from perfect. I'm grace. I believe in second chances. I believe in a do-over and a new start. And I've been given a new start and a new chapter in my life. And I do put God at the very forefront and the top of my life the best I can. Again, it doesn't matter who you are or what you're about or what you do in the public eye. You're always going to get judged for something. So again, I just do not want to cast a stone at nobody and judge nobody for what they're going through, because I think everybody struggles with something, whether it be, being obese, whether it be, an addict of some type, whether it be an alcoholic, whether you have a gambling problem or something sexual oriented or whatever. I just think we all battle something. And it's just a way that I think that, as they say, it takes a village to raise a kid. I don't know. I think that we all just need to we're all on this earth together, and we need to help each other out and just try to be positive and not beat each other up when your walk becomes a crawl, as I say. So my faith is very important. I know God's grace, His mercy's new every morning, and I'm just trusting God that He's the God. I tell people all the time, He's the God of what's left in your life, and He can take what's left or what's broken and make all things new and restore to you what you've lost. So that's where my faith lies with what I'm doing.
Absolutely, that is awesome, and that's by far the most important question, because that's the forefront of our entire lives. So, Joe, I want to thank you for joining me today. Quick announcement. I made this announcement earlier, but Brick Street Festival is this Saturday, 5 to 8 p.m. We're going to have food trucks. We're going to have vendors galore. We're going to have crafty vendors, all sorts of vendors, really. And it's going to be a really good time. Joe, you'll be there for a little bit there. So if anybody has any questions, obviously talk with Joe. If you have any questions and you don't want to wait till Saturday, message the office, call the office. Let's get started. We'll get you in contact with Joe. He'll have a free phone consultation with you,
right.
Which is a pretty awesome deal.
We'll talk it over.
And you can go over what you want to do, what you want to achieve, and Joe can say yay or nay. I can help you. I can't. You'll shoot him straight.
That's right.
And I trust you wills. And so thank you. We'll see you next time on next week, Thriving with Chiropractic.
Have you ever wondered why we are so passionate about serving our community? It's because years ago, Ellen used to suffer with severe migraines, and we were actually told by the medical community that there's nothing they can do. Have you ever wondered why we are so passionate about serving our community? It's because years ago, Ellen used to suffer with severe migraines, and we were actually told by the medical community that there's nothing they can do.